as you may see, we have the use of have, okay? We use have to talk about relationships and possessions. Relationships with your mother, your father, your brothers, your aunts, family, okay? And other people. We have it in, you can use it in an affirmative. When it's an affirmative, I, you, we, they have, okay? I have a brother, she has. If it's he, she, it, we use has. So I have a brother, if it's I, you, we, or they. And if it's he, she, it, we use has. She has 3 sisters, okay? We have a dog. It has long ears. We're talking about the dog. It has long ears. So that's in the affirmative, okay? De la manera afirmativa, como se utiliza el have y el has. Ustedes lo saben, pero estamos repasando. Let's go down. One second here. So in the negative form, we have I, you, we, they, and we use don't. For I, you, we, and they, we use don't have. Okay? He, she, it, we use doesn't have. The verb, we leave it as it is. Have. Okay? Have. It doesn't change. So I, you, we, they don't have. He, she, it doesn't have. We don't have a car. Lucy's a she, doesn't have black hair. Okay? So that we have in the negative form. Now we're going to see questions. We use do and don't with I, you, we, they. Okay? Do and don't. And we use does and doesn't with he, she, it. All this is in your book. You don't have to copy. Okay? Está en su libro. Eso es parte, está en el libro. Estoy poniendo ejemplos, otros ejemplos aquí, pero está en su libro, en esa misma página 15. The same page. Do you have, so use does and doesn't with he, she, it. Okay, as we have it here. Do you, when you ask a question, you put, do you have a car? Okay, do you have a car? No, I don't. If you ask another question in the third person is, does Lucy have black hair? No, she doesn't. Okay, that we have it in the book. It's in your page 15. Está en la página 15. In this box. Okay? The use of affirmative, negative, questions, and short answers. I only changed some sentences. So, let's continue. You're supposed to write today a composition, or let's say a description Okay, it doesn't have to be such as a composition, but a description. Let's call it a description. Okay, about a family member or your family. You have to use the correct form of have. Remember how you use it. I, you, we, they, have. He, she, it, has. You can use you have to use your family words, grandmother, grandfather, mother, father, okay, sister, brother, all the words we saw in family words, you use some of them. You don't have to use all of them, but you have to use them. And you can use adjectives: happy, big, small, boring, quiet, noisy, los adjetivos que ustedes quieran, okay? Here I have an example. But before we go with the example, we're going to read a practice that is in the book. Or let's read this one, then we go with the practice. Just a second. Read the example. I have 3 uncles, but my favorite uncle is Ramon. He has a small house. He lives near my house. He doesn't have a car, but he has a bicycle. I also have a bicycle. And sometimes we go for a ride in the park. We have the same interest in bicycles, okay? This is an example of what you would have to write. If you write about a family, some family, or your family, some family member, your favorite, for example, in this case would be my favorite uncle, sorry. My favorite uncle, okay? My favorite uncle. Maybe you have a favorite cousin, maybe you have a favorite grandmother or a grandfather, or maybe you have a friend and you don't want to speak about your family. Well, you can talk about your friend, but you have to use have. You must use have, has, does, or don't, doesn't, okay? So you have to give the use of those. You have to write more or less, let's say 6 lines, at least 6 lines, okay? So I know some of you did something. Those that already have it done, great. In any case, you can start doing it now. If you want to practice before, we can do a practice. I'm going to open the audio and you can ask me your questions. Okay, give me a second. Okay, any questions what we're going to do today? Does anybody want to ask me a question about it? Do you understand what we're going to do? You can, I took off the mute so you can.
Good morning, teacher.
Good morning, Grace. We're doing a word today, Grace, a composition, okay? We're going to work with the verb have. You have to use have. I will leave it there. I will put it complete so you can see it. And you have to write a composition about a family member. This is an example. My favorite uncle. I have 3 uncles. It came in a bit later, but you can see. And this is in the book. So write a composition, okay, about a family member or your family. You have to use the correct form of have. You can use words, family words. So maybe you have a favorite sister or a favorite, I don't know, cousin. Okay, so this is an example of how you can work with this. Any questions what you have to do? Does anyone want? Do you all understand? You have to write at least 6 lines. You can start from now. If you want, we can do this practice on page 15. Open your books on page 15, exercise 4A. Exercise 4A. Página 15, el ejercicio de la 4A. Vamos a hacer ese ejercicio juntos y luego con este ejemplo y lo que tienen en el ejercicio.
¿Qué página, teacher?
15. Exercise 4A, 4A. Okay. We have to use the correct form of have in this example. So, my favorite cousin is the title. I have a lot of cousins, but my favorite cousin is Victor. He, okay, which one do I put? Have or has?
Has.
Has. He has black hair. I don't see him much because he doesn't live. Notice we are using here don't, I don't, and he doesn't. Okay, so pay attention to that. Live near us. And his parents have a car.
¿Podrías repetir? Es que como que mi libro no está por aquí, lo tuve que buscar.
I
Me
cannot.
extravió.
Sorry?
Que se puede repetir lo que estaba diciendo, es que no pude escuchar bien porque el libro como que se me había extraviado y lo acabo de encontrar.
Okay, I repeat. Page 15, exercise 4A. 4A, página 15. I start again. I have a lot of cousins, but my favorite cousin is Victor. I have, okay? You have to fill in it's filled in there ready for you. Have, the correct use of have. He has black hair. I don't see him much because he doesn't live near us and his parents. There you have the use of don't and doesn't. And his parents, no, his parents, a car. Which one do I put? We will put have or has?
Have.
His parents have a car. Or his parents has a car. Have. His parents have a car. Okay? Well, sorry. Had. His parents has a car. They have a car. But they, a computer. But they, a computer. What do we put there? Have or has?
Have.
Have.
Es have porque son dos personas. Cuando es una sola persona o es una cosa, sería has.
He, she, it has. And we often chat, okay, please. Remember, we're recording.
Profesor, que yo no sé qué, no sé ni siquiera de qué estoy viendo.
Let's continue. Next one. He, okay, so we said, but they have a computer and we often chat online. He what? Have or has? Has, no? Has, he has the same interest as me. We like different things, but we always have a lot of things to talk about. Okay? So you have, this is an example. of a description. It really is a description, such as a composition of a family member. You can describe your family or you can describe a family member using the correct form of have. You have the example in the book and you have the example on the board. So you can start writing. Once you finish your writing, you can send it, please, to the MEREP, through MEREP, or ingles.abapadre2@gmail or at gmail.com. Okay, so please, you can start writing. Remember, 6 sentences, at least 6 sentences. You have to use has and have in correct form. You use, if it's a negative form, you remember how you use doesn't. With, if it's a he or she or it, goes doesn't. You use lives, you can use other verbs. You don't only have to use has and have. You don't have to, it's not only the verb have and have, but it should have most of it. You can use frequency adverbs sometimes, always, if you wish. He sometimes comes to my house. So I'm going to open up. So go ahead writing and I will